Good morning. I'm going to be doing some pottery today, and then the day before that I made jewellery, and it's nice to be back out in my workshop again because I haven't been out. I haven't made jewellery for I don't even know how many months it's been, but I made 3 men's rings and I made 18 pairs of earrings. It was a good productive day. It's all things that are going to be stocking my new website, and I will be out doing some more jewellery again later this week, maybe tomorrow. But today I'm going to make some more pottery. Yesterday I did that shelf. Those are actually mostly for me, just because I wanted to make something for myself, or for me and Mum. It's to replace our dinner set. I only made a 4-piece one originally. Some of them have chipped now. I made it quite a few years ago. There are little chips out of some plates and some bowls. And it's not a complete set either because I had originally made cereal bowls, but I was still learning the size it needed to be because of the shrinkage. Clay shrinks at 3 stages in the making process. So you need to account for the shrinkage when you make the original shape. And the clay I used shrinks 12%. So my original cereal bowls were not big enough. So then I made one, because I'm the only one that has cereal. My mum doesn't bother with cereal. So I just made one for myself in the end. That was a good size. So I've made 10 cereal bowls. I wasn't aiming to make 8, but the first one I made was my practice and it was a bit too small. And then number 9 for some reason came out really big. So I had to make 2 extra. And I made a few mugs as well. I thought I'd just show you a few bits of what I'm doing today. Probably won't just be pottery. I might include some jewellery. I might include some other bits. We'll see what I end up filming and how much time it takes up. So these are the bowls, my cereal bowls. You can see does that show how big they are very well. Are all pretty uniform in size. Like that's the really big one, and that's the small one in the back there. The rest of them are all relatively the same size. I'm hoping they'll stack nicely inside each other. And today I want to make dessert / pasta bowls. So these are the cereal ones, and the dessert pasta ones are going to be shallower and wider. And then these are the mugs. So imagine that with a handle, and then shrink it 12%. We'll see whether or not it's a good enough size. And then I also made a leaf plate. I can take the leaf off now. This is a Monstera leaf that my sister brought over because it had fallen off of her plant. So I need to turn that over, give it a nice flat bottom, pull the leaf off. I got a fake plant over here for like the backgrounds of videos and things, but I don't think it's really positioned right for that because the camera's going to be here. You're not really going to see it over there, but I haven't got anywhere to put it over there either. So yeah, a bit of a problem. I got myself a little sun lounger so I can lounge out in the garden on my lunch breaks. I'm giving myself proper lunch breaks. I feel like an 8 to 5er at the moment because I'm working from about 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock and just having an hour's lunch break. I know I probably should give myself a couple breaks, but I haven't. I just have an hour for lunch and sit out in the garden on the grass, enjoy some sun. Although it's been really cold. It's so cold. I'm taking my jewellery off. 10 degrees today, so it's a little bit warmer than yesterday. It started off 8 degrees. Let's see whether these are handleable yet. Not really. I don't think I could put a handle on that yet. Yeah, the bowls are still a bit too wet. This thing I might be able to do something with. Lovely lighting in here now. We had 2 more strip lights fitted end of last year, and they are very, very helpful brightening the room up. It feels like it's a bit firmer, so I need to give it a flat bottom. I don't want these side bits to split apart. Okay, let's pull this off. There we go. I need to reinforce these edges. This will probably end up being on the website for sale. If it works, if it doesn't crack. I am working on finishing the new website. The trouble is, if I'm going to be making more pots, I need more shelf space, so I need to consolidate down the biscuit pieces so that I've got another shelf for drying. This was me making a gift that I didn't end up liking, so that one is a goner. Where am I going to put things? I don't know. I don't have enough shelves. I mean, I've got loads of shelves, but I've got nowhere to put the other stuff. I've got an old clock that I was making, but decided I didn't really like. But maybe because I've been saying yesterday I need a clock out here, and I've got loads of clock components inside. So all I need to do is finish glazing it and fire it, and then I could have it as a clock out here. Although I could actually do with a square one to sit on top of the door frame. I sneeze. Oh, always threes. Are you somebody like me that has sneeze activated by bright lights? I do. Bright light sneezes. Oh, look at that. Almost a completely empty shelf ready for more pots. I'm weighing out clay for my dessert bowls. My notes say 650 grams, but that was for the dessert style bowl, whereas my pasta bowls were much bigger. I want to make something sort of in between, so I might do 700 grams. Well, if I was making a cereal bowl, that's just exactly 600 grams. I'm good at guessing 600 grams. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to change the colour of our dinner set. I want it to be more neutral toned. Got the mower doing his thing. I love this thing. You can see the lines he makes, it's really cool. The good thing about short grass is the cats don't poop in it, but if you leave, because I trimmed this and this was quite long, there was like a nice cushy patch of cut grass there, and there was a cat poop on top, because cats like long grass. See? We need another mower for up here. Cats will poop in long grass. Got to keep it nice and short. Is the camera angle okay? I'm going to batch produce, so I'm using a laser level and this grid thingy, which is made in a collaboration between Old Forge Creations and the brand Hartley Noble that make these bats that I use for my pottery wheel. And it's very handy for mapping out a batch production of pots. This has got all the measurements on it. I have to do this really awkwardly because the shrinkage ruler is in inches, but I like to work in centimetres sometimes. So I have to find out what 7 centimetres is in inches, which I could do on a calculator, or I can just do it on here. So this is a normal ruler. So 7 centimetres is a really awkward amount on inches. 2 inches and 12 lines, whatever that is. Then I go to my shrinkage ruler and go to the 12% and find that on here. I did look up pasta bowls and they are much bigger than dessert bowls. I mean, it's perfectly fine size. A dessert bowl is fine for me to have pasta in because I don't eat massive meals of pasta. But I'm just going to see how far 700 grams goes because I haven't used this amount to make this bowl before. And then I will use this one as the gauge for future bowls. I'm going to stay within the bounds of this particular bat size because this is the size I want to use to make them. I'm also considering the space we've got in the cupboard. We don't have a lot of space for massive bowls as well as plates and other bowls. That's my constraints. I cleaned up my wheel yesterday so that it would be nice for filming today. It won't be very nice in a moment. I am a messy potter. Some potters can throw on a wheel, throw like 50 pots and it'd be almost spotless because they can do it with very little water. This clay doesn't really allow it. It wants a lot of water, otherwise it gets very sticky. It also comes with skill, and the way you prefer to throw determines how much water you use. I'm going to show you how I am centering, because centering is like one of the hardest parts of pottery, of throwing on a wheel, and it's one of the things that people can stumble over and give up because they can't center the piece and then they've just got this wobbly thing. And I've got a bad wrist, so I have a new technique that I use that's not new to most people, but it's not what I used to do. But because of my bad wrist, I kind of have to use my body weight to get the initial center, because this blob here is very wobbly. It's definitely not completely centered. It's got lumps and bumps sticking everywhere. So instead of just relying on my strength in my biceps and pressure in my wrists, I'm going to use my entire body weight to center initially to get it round. And then I'll cone up and down a few times to get it nicely homogenized. Mower's a bit noisy. Every time it comes into the opening with the garage doors, I can hear it. When he goes behind, I barely hear him. Don't let centering stop you from having a go at pottery, because throwing, I mean, there's loads of other areas of pottery you can do that don't involve the wheel, but don't let centering put you off trying wheel throwing, because it is fun. Lots of water on my hands. I'm going to make sure the clay is nice and wet, and then I'm going to use my entire body weight to centre it, and full speed on the wheel. It is a lot of strength, but when you use your body weight, it helps. So you have to cone up the clay and then push it back down away from you. I'm also using a mirror. I never used to use a mirror for throwing. I don't know if you can just about see at the bottom of the screen, right there. That's a mirror opposite me, so that I can look at what I'm throwing directly in front of me. Otherwise you have to see from the side and you're craning over, which does mean that the mirror is in the position where I would have put the camera. That's why you're much higher up. There we go, centered the clay. I would hang the camera down, but I'm not touching it. Because these are quite low profile bowls, I need to flatten the clay down really far, and then I will pull out the centre to meet my laser line. Depends on if I've got enough clay to pull up the sides. I won't know if I've got enough clay to make it wider until I've actually started to pull the sides up, at which point I won't be able to make it any wider. So this is why the first bowl quite often doesn't turn out to be the finished product size, because you pull it up the sides and your sides are too tall now, so you wish you'd made it wider. Need to open up. I don't put foot rings on my dinner sets, so I don't need to leave a really thick base. I will just trim a slight depression in it so that it doesn't go like that at the bottom. You want it to go slightly in so that only the rim is touching the table. I need my ruler. Just want to check the inside diameter. Just want to make sure that I keep my inside diameter nice and big. Compressing the bottom, I can see an air bubble. Cheeky bubbles. I do have a habit of not wedging quite enough because of my bad wrist. I kind of don't wedge as much as I should. Oh, those bubbles do not want to go. Sounds like my mower stopped. You finished, have you? Missed a bit. Yeah, mower's going home. Done his job. That little... I got rid of one of them, but this other one is very reluctant to get gone. Seriously? Get out. Right, got it. I'm going to lift the sides up. Yeah, I've not quite got enough clay to reach the height I was aiming for. Let's see if we can pull a bit more up. It's so close, just not quite there. Oh, it's like millimetres out. How annoying. There. Managed to raise it up to touch the red line. I don't think you can see on the camera. I want to make sure that my sides are slightly going out so that they can stack inside each other, because I've made that mistake a few times where I've had the edge coming in a bit too much and then subsequent bowls wouldn't fit. And also making sure that the base is the same narrowness as other ones so that they can go deep enough in. It might be different from the rest because I might do something a bit differently for the next one. I think I will bring the base out a little bit further before I start pulling the sides up. So that is one. I'm gonna stop recording. Clean a pinky off so I can press the record button. This is after wiring off a pot is left behind. It comes off like when you're trying to make chocolate curls. Oh, my stomach just grumbled. It's like a chocolate cigar. All of this clay gets reconstituted, recycled. So satisfying. Sorry, it should be taller, because then you'll realise, ooh, I wonder if there's a use for this. Oh, I don't want to come off. Oh, why are you so stuck? I really don't want to stab myself with the pointy tool. That one was not satisfying at all. Shush, stomach. I will feed you soon. In another hour. Yay! Ended on a nice chocolate cow. This is what I've been working on for the past 4 days. I've been making our new dinner set. An 8-piece set in a neutral tone of off-white rather than the blue-brown one that I had done. I wanted to add these spirals so that the texture shows through the glaze. All of them have a spiral inside, but they're drying upside down at the moment. And then we have pasta / dessert bowls. So we have 8 of those. And I've been making some more paw print mugs. And these are hand thrown ones. The ones I was selling were cast, but I wasn't happy with the shape of the cast. I like my mugs to slightly taper in at the top, and you can't do that in a mould unless it's a 2-part mould, and mine is a single part mould. So these ones are hand thrown, so they will cost a bit more because they're a much more involved mug than the casting ones. With the casting, I did want to do that way because it's more affordable for people to buy, and I can produce them more quickly. But because I haven't been happy with the shape of the mug, I am back to hand throwing them on the wheel. And then we have more side plates, and this is a new soap dispenser, actually the biggest one that I've made so far, in this shape, and I'm hoping it will fit my pump. It's this one, which needs to sit over the top of here, has a little collar, and then I will resin glue the little collar down, and then the top screws into that. A new utensil drainer. I need to add a little hole in it once it's dry enough to come off of here, and trim the bottom and add a little hole for drainage. It's slightly bigger, slightly taller and wider than the one I had made before, because I was getting annoyed that you couldn't fit very much in there. 3 more side plates. I can't make the dinner plates yet because I need more clay. That's all I've got left of the clay that I use for most things. It's my favourite clay, and I need quite a bit. Each one takes, I think, like 1.2, 1.5 kilo for each plate. I need 8. Also ran out of bats, so I didn't have enough to do 8 side plates and 8 dinner plates. There's some of my dinner set in there. I don't know where I last recorded about my dinner set, but here we are. Most of it is at least past the bisque fire, but I have got 4 more dinner plates to make. So these are dinner plates. I've got 1 in the kiln starting a fire at the moment, and then I've got 3 that are bisque fired that need to be glazed, and then all the rest of this needs to be glazed. I've done 4 side plates. 1 of those is also in the kiln. 2 of the cereal bowls are in the kiln, and then I've got all the rest of the cereal bowls, so 6 cereal bowls, 8 pasta dessert bowls, 1 giant serving platter or snack bowl, whatever I want to use it for, a butter dish. This is all going to be the same glaze combination. I will probably put the old set, what's left of it, some of them have chips in, so I won't be selling those, but the other ones I will put up for sale in my pre-loved section. So if you wanted to have one of my old dinner plates, you can. And this is my mugs that I'm throwing. I like this very slight taper, so the top is, it will be, this looks a lot bigger now, but it's going to shrink. Once it's shrank, the top will be a standard opening size for a standard size mug, and it'll be slightly wider at the bottom, so you'll get more volume. It's also really nice to hold, very stable. And then I put a slightly squared handle on that's taller at the top, shorter at the bottom, so it actually stands straight but joins in with the taper. They're still a bit too wet for me to put handles on. And then I'm back to throwing dog bowls again, and that is actually the best dog bowl I have ever thrown, and it is a large. This is a prototype for a nut or olive bowl. So you have your nuts or your olives in here, and then you put the shell or the pit in there, and then you can empty it out the back. This was a hand slabbed one in a mould, and I'm not happy with how it's shaped. It's a little wonky, but it is a prototype. I'll get better at it. Also, I think the hole is a little bit too low. The shells or the pits might fall out, so I need to make that a little bit shorter, I think. I'm going to throw 4 more dinner plates now. I can fire it up to about 700 degrees before it starts to off gas bad gases. And we're only on 25 at the moment because I've literally just put it on, so it's safe to be out here, fully ventilated with the door, so I'm fine to have it on. But this is the first time I'm going to be out here working while the kiln is firing, but it's because I looked up when is it actually dangerous. Just got a delivery for some more throwing bats. This is Hartley and Noble, a small family run business like mine, and they make this bat system that allows you to throw on the wheel without having to wire off. So you can literally just put a bat on, throw your pot, take the whole bat off, put another bat on and keep going, which is what I've done with these. So there's the 5th dinner plate, the dog bowl. They're both on a Hartley and Noble bat, and they also have a tile bat system, which is this. So they have different sized bats that fit into a big one, so you can do things like the mugs. So these are on Hartley and Noble's bat system, the Russian doll style one, I think it is, and that's the medium size. And then there's a smaller one and a bigger one. That's the bigger one. I tend to do like the cereal bowls and those bowls on the bigger one, and then the small ones, something like these little mini jugs, mini tumblers, mini bowls. Because I didn't have very many of those, and I was running out of bats when I was doing the cereal bowls. And then these are the big bats that I do dinner plates and dog bowls. These ones are slightly more expensive because they're what they're made of, and they're only half drilled through, so you've got a complete flat surface on the top. And then I got one of their cheaper ones which goes all the way through. This allows me to do the side plates, so I can go up to the holes and not have any issues and make side plates. These ones are for my dinner plates. Everything's out. It's my little angel ducks. Look at the Aurora Borealis ones. Can you see how cool it is? I don't think you can see the green very well on the camera. It's a bit too hot to hold. And then there's a monkey. And then there's a waffle and a toast. There's our first dinner plate. First 2 cereal bowls. Number 4 side plate. A slow feed medium dog bowl. And this thing, it came out a lot muddier than I was expecting. It was an experiment. One of my new cereal bowls. I love how it looks like a fossil inside. I don't guess how much I need. They're slightly bigger than my old ones. Perfect. If you know, you know. The gloves that burnt away on top of the kiln. I've got the next section of my dinner set in here. It is entirely dinner set in this firing, making up multiple shelves. pretty. I love it so much. I'm going to unload it and then I've got all the bottoms to sand. You can see how groggy that is? How rough. So I have to sand it down nice and smooth. And the glaze actually mostly fills the spirals, so it's not like food will get trapped in there. I think I managed to get 4 of the dinner plates in here, and then I've got 4 more that need to have their bisque fire. Oh, my stomach's grumbling, it's almost lunchtime. So these are 3 more of the pasta / dessert bowls. Those are all ready to be bisque fired. And then today I've been trying to throw tall. I wanted to make a utensil holder and a utensil drainer. A jug for my dinner set, a little pot. These are going to be flower pots because they turned out way too small when I didn't know how much clay I needed. And then the 2 that I'm actually going with are these 2 in the front. The back one, I don't really like the texture. That was my stomach again. It is 1 o'clock. But these, can you tell how big they are? I got an owie. 16 centimetres tall and 13 wide diameter. So they're quite big, and that one's only a fraction small. I was trying to make them the same, but they're not going to sit together. One will be on the draining board with holes in to drain dry utensils and cutlery. Just realising the cutlery is going to disappear. Oh no. You're not going to be able to see the little spoons. What am I going to do about that? Because the little one I made is fine for small things, but for all the tall things, they just flop about all over the place. But now I've made it tall enough for the tall things. It's too tall for the small things. What am I going to do? I could put a divide in it. Put a line there so that the tall things go at the back. And then chop this down at the front for small things. The little spoons. I think even a knife and fork, or a fork might disappear under there. Oh, I don't know. I was so happy with this, and now I'm concerned that I've got to do something to alter it. Oh, well, it's too wet to do anything to it at the moment, so that'll be tomorrow's problem. Give me some time to think while I sand the bottoms of all of these things. So I put them on the wheel. I have a diamond sanding bat. Okay, so this is what I do to sand the bottoms flat. Oh, this one's actually a tiny bit. Okay. And then I check to see if it rocks. I might put my ear defenders on because I've got quite a few to do and it's quite loud, but there we go. And then I take this one, which is a little hand one, and go over all the rest of the surface because you've got all of these little bits of grog. Then it can go into the house and get washed to be used. Add my logo. I don't know if you can see it. So this is just to get off the majority of the dust. And then let's wipe clean. And I'll do that. Another dessert bowl. Pastel paw print mug. Pink and blue. And I did a Northern Lights mug to match the dogs. And I made sure that the green was nice and vivid. How cool! Inside and out. And then this is the butter dish. I'm going to have to give it a little tap so that the base falls off. I hope it's not stuck together. A side plate. It's got so much more blue around here. The cookie thingy. It's got 2 of them stuck to the bottom. I hate it when it does that. So pretty. The white underglaze didn't show up too well. All 3 of these had cracks in. I can't see a crack in it, but all 3 of these had a crack in them in different places. Ah, see, that one's got the crack there on the neck, but it's not very bad. Okay, well, unexpected, but the crack's healed. 2 dinner plates that need to be glazed, 2 that need to be bisque fired and then glazed, And then we have 4 cereal bowls, 1 utensil holder, 1 utensil drainer. Oh, and then also the little pouring jug. That's part of the dinner set. And then we'll have everything done. Oh, cool. So pretty. I need to open up the butter dish. We're waiting for the sound to change. Oh, it changed rather quickly. I couldn't glaze very far down because I didn't know how far it was going to travel, because this does run a bit, but it's hard to predict how far it's going to run. And it did run on the outside there, and I did not want it to run on the inside. So I've got to sand all of this down so that it sounds a lot nicer than that. That spiral is white, whereas all of these have got blue around them. Don't know, maybe the temperature is slightly different from the top to the middle of the kiln. So I currently have a 28-piece set, but in another few firings I will have a 39-piece set. It includes a soap dispenser and utensil holders, which maybe you wouldn't include in a dinner set, but they're all part of the same set that I'm making, and they are the same glaze, and it's all cohesive and pretty. It's the biggest matching set I've ever made. But currently we have 4 of the dinner plates, and the other 4 are still a work in progress. We have 6 of the side plates. We have all of the dessert bowls done. There's another 4 cereal bowls that need to be done. And then there's the utensil holder, utensil drainer, and a little pouring jug. This is my little dip dish. Soy sauce if you're having sushi. Butter dish, which we are about to try with some butter inside and see if it fits. Then we have the soap dispenser. This screws on and off so you can refill it. And this is the biggest soap dispenser I've made so far. And a notching mug. You see how sometimes these end up a lot whiter or a lot bluer. So very cool. And I love the iron speckled buff clay that I use. And then the butter dish. I do wish that the glaze went further down the edges, but I was too scared to seal it together with glaze. I really didn't want to do that. And then how these spirals are smooth. Some of the bowls are not quite as smooth. I think the glaze sort of pulls off to the sides, whereas the cereal bowls, the glaze goes straight down and almost covers the spiral. But on some it's more visible. And then we have the same spiral inside the mug, and it has Key's paw print on the side. So this will be my hot chocolate mug. Fingers crossed. It fits! It fits! Oh, I'm so happy it fits. There's no, like, it's not resting on it at all. It fits and it's perfect. Yay! Not sponsored by Lurpak. This is just the butter my mum likes, but yeah, there's lots of room either side, and yay! Oh, I'm so happy. Yay! I made one of these a while ago and it was way too small. The batter wouldn't fit. So now we have one that it does fit in. Yay! Ah, happy days. Yum. And this is a different angle. I wanted to show the dinner set in the background because I'm so proud of it. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.